Everyone in the personal finance niche will tell you to save $1,000 first. If you listen to Dave Ramsey, who is very popular, he'll tell you that that's the first step to get out of debt. Save $1,000. Now, saving $1,000 is not really all that hard. All you have to do is to have a job and start putting some money aside, and within a couple weeks, you should be able to easily save $1,000 or even sooner. So saving $10,000 is going to be a bit harder, and then getting to $100,000 is even harder. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about what you should be doing with your money once you save that first $1,000. And this way it makes it much easier for you to get to 10,000 and then 100,000 and then even to a million if your goal is to become a millionaire. Now, Warren Buffett even said this himself: the first 100K is the hardest, but afterwards it gets easier. Now, when I saved my first $1,000, I didn't really have a plan, and I really didn't know what to do with that money. I just knew that saving was a good thing and that I should have been saving. And so what ended up happening was that I invested some of that money, probably a small amount, and then I spent the majority of that money on things that I wanted then. But then I realized that I really didn't need those things, and I actually ended up selling them on eBay for a loss. And because of this, looking back, there were so many other things or options that I had that I could have done with $1,000 that would have made me more money. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Eann, and I post videos here almost every day on topics related to credit cards, bank accounts, saving money, investing your money, side gigs, businesses, crypto. So if you like these types of topics, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. I'll really appreciate it. And giving this video a thumbs up is 100% free. Also, be sure to subscribe with the notifications on. That way you never miss the updates of when I post new videos on this channel. Now, let's talk about some of the most common things that you'll hear that you should do with the first $1,000 that you save. We'll talk about them, and I'll give you guys my thoughts. So the first one is to create an emergency fund. Now, even Dave Ramsey says that this is the starting point, right? Now, I think this is true. You definitely need an emergency fund, especially if you're not a high income earner, because you don't want to have something as simple as, let's say, a flat tire, or you missed 3 days from work because you caught the flu and now you're out $600. Now, the emergency fund is not the go-to thing for people when they just save their first $1,000, because this is really, or there is really no return on investment for an emergency fund, right? It's just money that you're going to have sitting there on the sidelines. And oftentimes when you save this money, you may never use it, but that's the entire goal here. You want to hope that you won't ever use it, but in case you have any minor unexpected bills or emergencies, you can take care of them quickly and you won't have to go into debt to do so. So with that said, I think an emergency fund is definitely a good way to utilize that first $1,000 that you save, or at least it's a good starting point, because it is recommended that you save at least 3 months off expenses for your emergency fund. So if you know that you need $3,000 to survive on each month, then your emergency fund should ideally not be just $1,000, but should be $9,000. So in the event that you can't work, you can actually survive for 3 months while you either seek employment or you figure out how you're going to get your income back. Now, the second popular way in which you will hear that you should utilize your first $1,000 that you save is to invest in the stock market. And this is also a good idea. However, investing in the stock market usually doesn't make you rich or doesn't yield you massive returns in a short period of time. So for example, you can use an investment calculator, right? Let's say you saved your first $1,000 and you put this in a stock market portfolio. And let's say you choose a simple index fund or ETF that gave you 10% on average per year. Now, if you did that and you made an additional contribution of $100 each month, in about 5 years, you'd have around $9,200, of which you would have saved or invested $7,000, and $2,000 would be the returns from that investment. Now, yes, you would have made some money, but this is not a considerable amount of money, right? $2,000 is definitely not going to make you rich or wealthy. However, if you did the same exact thing by starting this investment portfolio with $1,000 and investing $100 just the same, and you invested this money for 25 years, instead of 5 years, then the total yields from this investment account is now going to be over $100,000. So you would have saved or invested around $31,000, and the remaining $100,000 would be the returns on this investment. Now, $100,000 is a lot of money. However, as in this example, usually you invest in the stock market and you don't make any considerable amounts of money, which will increase your wealth or net worth by a lot until about year 12. If you wanted higher returns in a shorter period of time, then you'd have to invest 5 or 10 times more the amount of money to be able to see any considerable returns in just 5 years or a short period of time. So my thoughts here are that investing is something that you should always do, of course, for your future, and you should allocate a certain percentage of your income for investments every month or every week, depending on how frequently you get paid. But unless you're investing 50% or more of your income, then usually this is going to be money for your retirement years. So while investing $1,000 in the stock market is a good idea, you're gonna have to wait a while to see any considerable returns from that investment. Now, if you're wondering which of these options I think is best, I'm actually saving that for last, so be sure to stick around to the end of this video where I'll tell you what I think the best way is for you to use that first $1,000 that you saved. Now, the next thing that you'll hear is that when you save your first $1,000, you should start paying off your debt, and if your debt is less than $1,000, then you should get rid of it completely. Now, sometimes people try to cheat this and they'll try to invest the money and then they'll try to use the returns from the investments to pay the debt. But usually your investments will make you, let's say, 10, 12, or even 15% in returns annually. However, you have to take into consideration taxes, inflation, and other costs on this money that you're earning from this investment. And with that said, most credit cards or even personal loans, if you check it right now, they'll come with interest rates of 18, 19, 20%, and could easily go all the way up to 40 or 45%. So when you look at it like that, you'd be better off not investing that money and just paying off this debt, because over the long term, you're going to pay a lot more in interest if you were to try to invest your money and use the yields to take care of your debts. So again, I think this is also a good way to spend your first $1,000 that you save. And if you have debts, you should definitely consider using this $1,000 to get rid of these debts. Now, even if the $1,000 isn't enough to completely remove the debt, you should at least make a list of all your debts and start to pay off the minimums or pay the minimums on them, and then use all the extra money you have to tackle the highest debt first until you get to pay them all off. Now, the fourth thing that you can do with the first $1,000 that you save is to start your own business. Now, I think this is one of the best things you could do with the first $1,000 that you save. When I started investing with around $25 per week. And soon enough afterwards, I realized that I wasn't going to really get anywhere with investing $25 a week. It was going to take me at least 35 to 40 years before I saw any considerable amounts of gains from that kind of investing. I want to invest more, but to invest more, I also had to earn more. And this is one of the main reasons why I started doing a bunch of side hustles and side gigs and ultimately started a business. Now, just to give you guys a quick example, if I had taken $1,000 and I had put that into the stock market and I made no additional contributions, it would take me 7 to 8 years before I could actually double that money. So before I could make another $1,000 from that initial $1,000 investment, it would take me roughly 7 to 8 years, almost a decade. Now, I was flipping cell phones and I was refurbishing laptops and selling them on eBay. And I went to this small store that was going out of business and I picked up 3 laptops for $150, right? And I was able to list those laptops on eBay and I got an average around $125 for each. Now, I didn't list them as buy now. Maybe if I did, I could have made more money. I made them auctions and they were 7-day auctions. So you could say within a week, I was able to nearly triple my $150 investment. Now, similarly, if you start a business with $1,000 or even if you invest into learning something that will help you to make more money, the chances of you earning more are greater in a shorter period of time than you continuing to save or trying to invest that $1,000. Now, the good thing about this is that once you get your income up or you start this business or side gig or side hustle, you can quickly save $1,000 again. You can save $1,000 much faster than how you save the initial $1,000 that you used to start that small business or that side hustle. Now, this is something that I learned after trying to invest and hitting what you could call a dead end. as it really showed me that the best way to invest your money is not necessarily in the stock market and probably not even in crypto. And although you can and you will make good money there, if you want good, reliable, consistent short-term gains or income, then your best bet is investing in a business. If you ask me which one of these you should use your first $1,000 to do, I tell you to do all four. Start a business, pay off your debt, invest in the stock market, and start that business. Now, that may take you more than $1,000, but it just depends on where you're at right now and what your priorities are, right? So if you have a lot of debt, then it would be smarter to pay off that debt. If you don't have any debts, then it would be good to start your own business. And it's also very good for you to start contributing, even if it's a small percentage of your overall income into stocks or crypto for future or for retirement. So comment below with your thoughts. Let me know what you think, which is more important. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. All the best with your personal finances and making money. And I'll see you guys very soon in the next one.